So as a Phoenix Suns guy, as a guy that covers sports here in Phoenix for Fox Sports 910 here in Phoenix, I've even got the shirt on for this edition of the Ben Garcia Show. I wouldn't do the show justice if I didn't talk about the Phoenix Suns and the Summer Suns. I'm ready to call the Phoenix Suns summer for how it's been. The Summer League, the draft, the free agency. I believe the Phoenix Suns have done everything they can to be the best team possible. I believe they've added the correct players. I believe they've added Miles Plumlee. All these things. Simultaneously, even with the additions of Mason Plumlee and Monte Morris and Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro in the draft and bringing back Josh Okogie, the Phoenix Suns did everything they can to get better this offseason. And they are unequivocally a better team. This is not debatable this year than they were last year. However, here's the catch. I still believe they have absolutely zero chance to compete for a championship next year. Other teams are just getting better. And I wanted to give the Suns a second as I continue to pull up their stats from last night's game. I wanted to give them a second to really come together and figure out exactly what they want to be. I wanted to give it a shot. Truly, I wanted to give the Suns a shot. But with the finished product, which is basically what it is now, the finished product with, aside from maybe adding a Gordon Hayward, the Suns did better than I thought they were going to do. Mason Plumlee, I believe Monte Morris can add a strong point guard back up to this role and orchestrate an offense a little bit better so it's not crazy. The hodgepodge that it was, Mike Budenholzer, I believe, can be a much better offensive coach than about 3/4 of the NBA. But with all that being said, after seeing the fact that Ryan Dunn is a light years away from being able to shoot the basketball. Now, I've always said the Suns have needed a taller Josh Okogie, a bigger, taller Josh Okogie. Yes, and his job on the floor isn't to score buckets. But Ryan Dunn's ability to at least create some offensive threat so that teams don't just leave him open, that's a real issue for the Suns now. He has no ability right now to become a legitimate offensive weapon. We saw with Josh Okogie, anytime he's in the lineup, teams just sag off him. They'll double whichever one of the big three, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, have the ball. Ryan Dunn, who I had high expectations for, can still be an elite-level defensive player and maybe develop a corner three that Josh Okogie could never develop within a couple years. I'm pulling the plug. The championship or bust aspirations for the Phoenix Suns, it's just tough. And you go back and you look at all of the things that the Suns did to get to this point, whether it was trading for Bradley Beal, whether it was trading for Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant on the Suns. He's a fun guy to have. I'm just being honest here. Bradley Beal was my favorite player in the NBA who wasn't on the Phoenix Suns last year. And their ability to be able to win together is a real issue. That is a real issue for the Phoenix Suns. I just don't see them being able to leapfrog some of the teams like the Dallas Mavericks, like the Denver Nuggets. The Los Angeles Lakers are probably still better than the Phoenix Suns with their core group of guys. Teams like the Boston Celtics, we know, are in the Eastern Conference. The Memphis Grizzlies are coming back next year better than ever. The Orlando Magic added some players. The Suns are dealing with some key issues that I believe are not fixable. And at this point, I know it's late in the summer. I know it's July. It might be time to just hit the eject button. Because Phoenix Suns fans and Phoenix Suns supporters alike and people outside watching the Phoenix Suns, they're in a bad spot. You are hoping for Oso Ighodaro, a second-round guy in which second-round picks don't normally make the contributions that you need them to have in the NBA Finals or on a run to the NBA Finals. You're asking for him to be a legitimate backup two on this team and the ability to be able to add quality minutes to this Phoenix Suns roster. And I just believe that that's not possible. And then you have the Ryan Dunn aspect of things. You're asking him to come in as a prime defensive player, a guy who has not developed really anything of an offensive threat while being with the Phoenix Suns, to come in and be a legitimate offensive threat. and to come in and legitimately contribute to a team that had some offensive woes outside of the big three and at times needed someone to stretch the floor. Now you're asking Grayson Allen to basically replicate what he did last year, which was insane. It was 44% from the field, I believe, Grayson Allen shooting from three. Asking Grayson Allen to replicate an insane three-point season, asking Ryan Dunn to come in and be the lockdown defender and add an offensive threat, asking Oso Ighodaro, the 44th something pick in the draft, 40 something other guys picked before him, to come in and be a legitimate backup five, and play some legitimate small ball and be an elite level role player on the Phoenix Suns in a chance to win a championship. And even if all those things happened, even if all those things, the stars became aligned, it would still be really, really tough for the Phoenix Suns to be able to add that, for the Phoenix Suns to be able to put all those things in a pot and for it to work out and to then win a championship. Even if all that stuff, the Memphis Grizzlies potentially are better, the Minnesota Timberwolves are just better, the Denver Nuggets are just better, the Lakers right now currently constructed might be better, the Sacramento Kings might be better, the Dallas Mavericks are better. The Suns need to hit the eject button here. And this isn't me ragging on the Suns. I just want them, as a fan and as an objective viewer of the Phoenix Suns, to get better in other ways. Meaning, the Phoenix Suns have to hit the eject button on this Kevin Durant thing. They have to hit the eject button where they can. Because if they don't, if they go throughout this process next year and they don't win a championship, Kevin Durant's trade value might be nothing. Bradley Beal's trade value is already nothing. So what does that lead you to do? Keep rolling these guys out in an attempt to win a championship, be a second apron team, have your picks frozen because the punitive complications of being in a second apron, being that team does to you? You want to keep rolling that out? Or do you want to fix the problem? And I love what the Suns have done this year. They've added as much as they could. They've really, in my opinion, B+ on the offseason. If you were expecting them to do more, you just weren't paying attention to the Suns. There were just better opportunities everywhere else. I'm not in the business of being a deranged, insane, hallucinating Suns fan that doesn't understand that this team can't win a championship. I'm in the business of how can we get this fixed and on the road as fast as we can. And to me, the only way of that is ejecting Kevin Durant from this fold. Getting back all the assets you can for Kevin Durant. Field a competitive team next year with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker with some players around him and stay competitive. Get those picks. Get those other players. See what you can flip Grayson Allen into later on in the trade deadline. But this team as currently constructed, even if everything worked out and it doesn't look like through a couple of games into the Summer League, Oso Ighodaro or Ryan Dunn are really going to be key contributing elite role players on the Phoenix Suns. And asking them to do it already was already a stretch. But now a team that needs that to happen, even if it did, I still have my doubts of this team winning a championship. And if this Suns team isn't winning a championship, I'm not so sure what we're doing. I think the Phoenix Suns need to seriously analyze where they are, possibly hit the eject button on Kevin Durant, see what you can get for Grayson Allen, reconfigure this roster, add some assets so when this team is really ready to compete, they have the assets to do so. Doing anything else at this time is just delusion to think they're a championship contender or praying that everything comes together. It's better to be proactive than reactive. And that's what I'm trying to do with the Phoenix Suns.